Testing, test. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. Where we at? What's up, relaxing sounds? How you doing, man? My little streamer thingamajiggy says no data, but everything else is saying that it's working, so I don't know what's going on there. Let me know if you can hear me okay, and that you can see me. Oh, there we go. Excellent connection now. Good, good, good. All right. So you can see by the title of this stream, it says earnings hiccup, and I'll explain what I mean by that. So if I open up, before I talk about Bitcoin and where we are, let me just open up the calendar here for the earnings report. I'm going to see if I can get it to go onto Dark Reader. I don't know why it's not working. There we go. Okay. All right. Now, let's see, Wednesday. So this is Facebook, Meta. Now, they were expected to pull in an EPS, which is earnings per share. So the forecast was $2.12 earnings per share. They actually pulled in a $3 earnings per share. So that was a 41.5% surprise, positive surprise, right? So that, the market, after hearing that, rallied. It was fuel for further growth in the market, or further price action in the bullish momentum. So if we look at today, I know you guys are in Thursday evening, but today, now the results haven't been drawn up on this table yet, but we had Apple, Google, and Amazon. So Apple, Alphabet, Amazon report. Now they are three huge companies. You got $2.5 trillion for Apple, 1.3 trillion for Google, and then you've got Amazon at 1 trillion market cap. Let me grab you a report here on how they went. So just bear with me, I'll grab it. It was an article. Just see if I can track it down. Earnings. Had it only just before, but let me find it for you. It wasn't CNBC. Conscious Investor, maybe? No, it wasn't that. I think I might have found it. Here we go. Okay, found it. All right. So just this little section here. I'll turn the reader back on. Okay, so we got Amazon, Alphabet, which is Google, and then Apple. So Amazon came in only a matter of not that long ago, right? But the forecast was calling for 15 cents EPS, right? They pulled in a 3 cents EPS. That's a very big shortfall of the mark there for the estimation. And 145 billion in revenue. So it actually pulled in higher revenue but lower earnings per share. Now Alphabet, so yeah, I think that's the worst result of the three, but Alphabet, so Google, EPS came in at $1.05, where the estimation was $1.18. Revenue came in at 76 billion, 76.05. Estimation was 76.53. So a bit of a shortfall there on the revenue. So not great for Google, but not horrible. I mean, it's not a tragedy or anything. They still earned a lot of money. And then look, Apple, not so bad. Look, earnings are $1.88 versus back off the expected $1.94. So not terribly different, but still a slump. Revenue came in at 117 billion versus the 121 billion expected. So falling short on the expected revenue there. iPhone sales revenue for Q4 is 65 billion versus 68 billion, maybe from last year or maybe off the estimate. I'm not sure what that totally was, but gold, crude oil, yeah, upside momentum faded on economic growth concerns. The central bank's policy tweak are not pointing to brighter economic outlooks, blah, 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 blah. So a bit of commodities there, oil and gold. But yeah, that's those three. And then this is the fourth, Meta, right? They did well. Out of the big four there, only Facebook did well, which was surprising because they were kind of forecast to do badly or poorly. But it was the other way around. All right, let's go to Bitcoin now. You can see there is a bit of a slump in price off the back of that bad news, right? So scrolling out though, like zooming out of this, obviously the trend is still alive. There's no change to that. Just have to be aware on the daily time frame, today's candle, there's a lot of wick activity on the top side there. So, tall wicks on the top are usually a sign of weakness. So this was a very sketchy looking candle, but it was bullish engulfing at the same time. Whereas this one has a wick, but it's not bullish engulfing. It's looking more like they call it like a gravestone doji, I believe. Let me just double check the candle names for you. Crypto folder, education. Here we go. Okay. So this old cheat sheet. What do we got? It's looking like a shooting star, I think. Price came up into it, and the expected move is to move down off it. So, perhaps perhaps our Friday candle starts off with a bit of a slump. Maybe back to this like support range over here. But yeah, we'll see. I'm off the back of the bad earnings news there. I don't think we're just gonna just start rallying, especially with the stock market closed right now. But hey, look, tomorrow's stock market session should be interesting to see, you know, whether it continues to move strong off the back of those poor earnings results from Amazon, Google, and Apple. Let me open up the Nasdaq, or let's look at the S&P. So the SPY, we'll see how it did. Here's the SPY. Let me hide these indicators. Let's start on the weekly. We'll zoom right out. Okay, so as we all know, all of 2022 bear market, you know, values falling, and then we have basically created this massive falling wedge, which we have since broken out of over the past 2 weeks. You know, quite evident there that we've made a very clean breakout there. Now we just got to see if we could sustain some kind of movement outside of this and not slump back down onto it, you know, or even worse, into it. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. If we go down to the daily chart, today gapped up big time. I think that was maybe off the back of that positive result from Meta, the Facebook earnings. Perhaps maybe that played a role. Anyway, like a lot of earnings came out yesterday, which were good, actually, like higher than expected. So potentially that's what caused this little pump here. Now, in the final moments of today's session, so that hours, like the remaining 3 hours, so hour 1, 2, and then 3, we got the kick back up. But this one started off a bit of a corrective move. Bitcoin felt that. If you go on the hourly chart for Bitcoin, you can see basically, I think, let me just check. So that was the final hour. Yeah, okay, so a lot of this downward momentum here was off the back of these two candles here. Now this final push up here was reflected by a move on Bitcoin as well, but it didn't take it terribly far. It took it here. This was it here reflected. That brief move up there, that brief little rally coming up. But then, you know, after the market closed, after the stock market closed, those earnings came out, and damn, did we pull back, making a new low off this short-term time frame market structure. So we do have ourselves some kind of like descending broadening wedge. So if we take the peak there, trace it across, and then we take the lows here and trace them down, we've got ourselves some kind of falling broadening wedge pattern. Now on a bigger scale, I'm going to zoom out. Let me delete these lines. Let's go to, say, the daily. And I just want to like zoom in on the 2022 low as a potential start of a wave 1 up to here. And then if we're going to call this the wave 2, so the pullback of a 5-wave count. And then look, wave 3, sorry, has been tremendous in performance. Like we've come right up here. Now, off the back, I'm not saying the wave 3 is completed yet, but if, you know, let's say we do start to correct, you know, we're looking at an ABC correction, you know, something like this, right? just like what happened here on this wave 2 pullback, if I jump down to say like the 15-minute chart, I'm going to see if I can find you know, an ABC within that pullback. I'm sure it probably exists. I'm going to just get this to come over here like that, make it a bit more accurate, like that. Okay, so you could argue that there's some 5-wave structure there too. But anyway, it is a corrective move. So it kind of has, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it could be like a 5-wave correction there. As long as wave 3 isn't the shortest wave. I think obviously wave 5 here is the short one. Wave 1's pretty long. But yeah, there's your corrective move for wave 2 of the larger account, right? So either we're going to get an ABC pullback or a 5-wave pullback off the recent market action, relative to the size of the overall structure as well, right? So we see relative size, right? So if we get anything similar to this, I'll use this as like a bit of an estimation. And let's just assume that we've had the top in. Maybe we pull back to, you know, retest $22,000. You know, that could be possibility, right? And then, you know, once we find that support, we rally for the wave 5, the final push of this Elliott 5-wave Elliott structure. Now that's assuming that we've hit a top already. There is still a chance that the Friday's performance tomorrow in the stock market could be positive, which may produce a final push for Bitcoin to test that August high of 25,200. It would be great. I'd be on board for that. Like, you know, bring it on. But I'm not counting on it. I'm not getting my hopes up with that. You got to be careful with expectations. You can't rest on those expectations too heavy. You got to stay, you know, malleable. You got to move with the market moving. So I've been trying to get better at that because I've been pretty rigid in the past, as you know. But yeah, just trying to improve there with you know, taking action on what the charts are showing, right? One of the best ways to find out that that market flow is your moving averages. So if I bring those on, I'm going to hide the drawings here. Let's hide the TA. We'll just leave the price levels on there. But from an hour perspective, you can see. Let me just let's just look at the moving averages first. So we've got the 200 simple moving average and the 50 simple moving average. So the 200's the yellow one and the 50 is the red one, right? Now you can see on the, like, from an hour perspective, we golden crossed right here, and we've been healthy the whole way up, right? We briefly did a death cross here, but we've since corrected that off the back of the FOMC meeting, right? So we were starting to slump, like it's like as though the market was assuming that it would be bad, and it sort of sold off into it. But you know, lo and behold, it was good. It was a good result. So let me find when it actually happened at 5 a.m. my time. So on this candle here was the result. So picking that moving average back up, getting it above average, and here we are today, like trying to maintain activity above the 200 on the hourly. So from an hourly perspective, I think that gives you a comfortable idea of how the trend is behaving. You know, there was a bit of evidence of weakness here, so it got a little bit shaky, you know. I don't doubt that there were some bears that opened up some fresh shorts through this weakness, you know. You know, they've been calling for a pullback since the RSIs have been running hot this whole time, this whole rally, right? And that's totally reasonable. I think reasonable to suggest that there is some kind of correction due in price, overdue, if you ask me. So if we look at, let's dial it back a bit further. I'll go to the 15-minute time frame. This, you're going to get a lot more noise, obviously, on the 15 minutes. So, a lot of death cross, a lot of golden cross happening. So you can see why, like, to get perspective on the market, it is better to stick to the hour chart and above. The higher the better. But if you're trying to remain sensitive to price action, and you let's say you're trading high leverage, like, you want to be trading the lower time frames, if you've got a lot on the line. But if you can afford those, if you can afford to experience a little bit of drawdown and it doesn't shake you out, these higher time frames are handy for that. Now, 4 hour, you can see we're so elevated. The 200's all the way back here on the 4 hour time frame. We're still, there's evidence that we're still riding the 50 as support as we speak. So now let's look at the exponential moving averages, because they're slightly different. It's a similar story, but if you have them all on together, you can see the 50s are kind of a lot tighter together, and then the 200 kind of has a lagging effect, but they're not as tight. Now, from a daily perspective, we know that we had the golden cross, on the cards. We did get a golden cross if you use the EMA against the MA, but if you're just going MA to MA, like, it hasn't quite happened yet. Now, EMA to EMA, like that, hasn't happened yet either. EMA to MA, yeah, way off. All right, so I think the general rule, though, is just using simple moving averages. So like this. So, you got your death cross, and then you're looking for your golden crosses. So good question, Aaron. Good segue. Now, the weekly, scary, because it is threatening a death cross. Any moment now, any day now, probably next week, we'll know if we get that cross happening. But yeah, this is simple moving average, threatening to cross. Now, if we turn on the exponential, and we'll turn off the simple, exponential looks a bit different. You can see that it's, and what I'll do, I'll hide the drawings just so we can really see it. Let me hide the candles as well. You can do that. There we go. All right. So you can see, yeah, not as severe looking as the simple moving averages are. Like, simple moving averages are very scary right now. If you turn them all on, has there been any crosses? Not quite, not just yet. If we leave the EMA on and then the simple on, yeah, look at that. That's very threatening on the weekly. But look, it does seem to have changed its trajectory a little. You see how it's like arcing a little? So maybe it'll be like a graze. A death graze rather than a death cross, perhaps? We'll see. We'll see. Let's bring those candles back. There they are. And turn the EMA off. So yeah, like weekly, we've never really seen a death cross on the weekly before, so if we do get it, it'll be interesting to see how the market behaves off the back of that. Doge's XR penis. What's happening, man? Bull run or not? Give us your answer. Well, I would say we have the beginnings. I mean, okay, bull run? Yes. That's my answer. Yes, we're in a bull run. There's no doubt about it. Now, bull market, see, this is where you come into semantics, right? Are we in a bull market? And I would say we have the beginnings of a bull market, yes. We're above the 200 simple moving average on the daily time frame. We've found support above it, and we're continuing to rally here. Now, the confirmation to really solidify this as a bull market, what we want to see is higher support off some kind of correction. So if we correct, as long as we're closing, fairly high, finding support on the back of the 200 daily here would be evidence of support. And then if we rally off that, then that's, yes, bingo, you've got more confirmation that it is a bull market, right? But yeah, it is early to call it. Some people are hesitant to call it a bull market just yet, but it's certainly looking like it could be the start of it. I know you guys are looking for certainty and commitment. It just wouldn't be honest for me to say yes, we are in a bull market, but it's got the recipe for it. It's a couple of boxes are checked, but we'll see. We got to have the pullback first to see where that support is gonna find itself. You think Crow is any good? About 90% down from high still. Well, everyone is saying peak bull market will be mid-2025, so could a bull run last 2 years? Yes, and we have seen a bull run last 2 years. I'll show you. Let me grab the evidence of that. I'll look at Crow in a minute, but let me go to the Bitcoin index chart, and we'll use our moving averages once again on the daily. Now let's go back to, let's dial this clock back to 2016, 2017, because that was a 2-year bull market, guys, off the back of a bear market. So our bear market was 2014 here, into partway into 2015 as well. And then we chopped sideways for a good, 9 months here. So this was like a consolidation, if you will. Let me get this a little bit more accurate. Let me use the ellipse tool. Okay, so the bear was to here, I would say, and we'll make that red. Then we had accumulation pretty much through here, which is kind of what people want at the moment, right? They don't want to go bullish yet. They want time to buy. They want to spend some time buying, and then obviously we have the bull run, which is this, right? Something to that effect, and that can be green, of course. So that's kind of an example of a 2-year bull run off the back of a 1-year bear market, followed by 9 months of chopping sideways, indecision. So yeah, could we be getting that again? And it's possible, right? If we go back to the daily, let's hide these moving averages. Now we are on logarithmic, but that's totally fine. We can do it with that. And let's just see a comparison, right? If we're calling this the bear market, the big question is, are we skipping accumulation? I don't think there's we haven't seen that yet. We haven't skipped accumulation yet, I don't feel. This takes us up to obviously you have to adjust this for scale because we're on logarithmic, right? Something maybe more like that. I don't want to get everyone's hopes up, but yeah, 150k Bitcoin on the bull, well, let's just call it, just for argument's sake, just for hopium's sake, that could happen, right? Or we get this, we get some kind of repeat like this, right? And I think that's reasonable to suggest that we get something like that. I accidentally moved this one. Okay, does that make sense? That's kind of how I see it, macro. If we're going to repeat the cycle, Now this one, this bear down here was fairly quick, and it was like a blow off bottom, for lack of a better term. It was maybe something more like this. There was no accumulation there. It just bounced, and we got straight back on track in that cycle. So, and then look, we got this. We got the back of 2018. Now this definitely had an accumulation 2019. So it moved something like this. Now it was a very broad range accumulation, and it was kind of interrupted by COVID, right? The pandemic. So you know it was almost like, look, it was like a semi bull market, I would say. What's a color between green and orange? It's hard to say. Let's just go like that, because then obviously the real bull market happened right on the bounce of the COVID drop. Like, we really kicked it off and did a bull market, right? Some people would argue that this was the bull market and the black swan COVID event was just a hiccup along the way. But yeah, you can see, like, that's roughly how you interpret these cycles, right? And it's great that Bitcoin and crypto has these cycles that we can follow, right? You know, there certainly was accumulation periods in 2019. Like down here, there was like a brief accumulation zone. And if we zoom into the recent price action on Bitcoin, you can certainly see areas of accumulation as well. So like that kind of choppiness, that's that sideways chop that we identify. So we really have to zoom in, and you can see why people have been frustrated, because there was just no time to get in, like to build those positions. We were only given a very brief window to get, to see the potential and get bullish and whatever. If you were quick to act, you could have caught this, but it all happened very quickly, relatively speaking, right, to the cycle. Relatively speaking. Yeah, like this one was a bit nicer. But hey, look, we could be in something like this. This could just be a really, really broad range accumulation, something like that, right? And maybe we see that go all year, like all the way out till December of this year. Maybe that's not outside the realm of possibility. What an accumulation range. Like, you can trade the crap out of that. Like, look, there's rallies all through it. It's very active. And then, maybe we start picking up into next year after the halving. Now, the halving is forecast to happen around early, sort of end of Q1, early Q2 of 2024, something like that. It's estimation. So yeah, potentially this could come out a little further too, into early next year, like all of January or something, maybe like that. And then that's the question on everyone's like sort of mind at the moment, is, are we doing this or are we doing this? And that's why I'm saying the bull market is too early to call. If you want like a definite answer with whether we're in a bull market or not. There's no doubt it's a bull trend. We're in a bull run, right? It's a bull run. But yeah, to say that we're just going to do this is like, you know, we don't know that. That's just a guessing game then. You know, it's anyone's guess at that stage. So many factors come into it as to whether we do that or not. So anyway, that's kind of my approach on analyzing where we're going. But there's no doubt, you know, if we're looking at the history of crypto and Bitcoin, right? This cycle, it seems to be on time with a bit of a turn in direction. You know, we've had our 12-month bear cycle. And now we're looking to, you know, to shift gears with the okay of the stock market, if they'll let us, and the global economy. But yeah, let's see what we get. So we've got 9 o'clock. I started this stream a little early. I am going to work today, so I thought I would start early and not leave you guys hanging with no stream. I wanted to at least put this out and discuss, what's been happening. So this is the index for Bitcoin. We've looked at the EMAs. The weekly still hasn't done that death cross. The daily has golden crossed if you're looking at that method using the 200 simple and the 50 exponential moving averages. But from just a simple moving average perspective, we have not had that golden cross just yet. All right, that's the moving averages. Optimistic on the daily, terrifying on the weekly. Mixed messages, right? It's like, which one do you pay attention to more? Like, what's more telling of what's to come? It's kind of like up to you, I guess. I think, like we just have to be cautious. I think is the don't rest on your laurels. Don't fall for that false sense of security just because we've gone up for 4 weeks here, 4 or 5 weeks, that we're totally on. It's optimistic, yes, and there's opportunity to take action in this kind of condition, right? But it's not that green light to the whole, to the all-time high achieving bull run just yet. It's early days. It's too early to say still with absolute certainty. But yeah, it's cool. I've been trading it. Let me know if you guys have been trading it, because it's been giving us nice volatility. I mean, yesterday was excellent trading. There was such commitment to the direction, There was no second guessing. There was no back and forth. It was just, one way. What are we here? We're on the Binance chart for Bitcoin. I'll go full screen. Let's look at what's happening in the here and now. If I open up these guys, you can see we've kind of broken that low. So we've got that break of structure to the downside after our change of character yesterday, right? So this is the swing structure. We're below the 200 on the 5-minute chart. So short time frame, it is a downtrend at the moment, right? That's clear as day. You've got lower highs, lower lows. You're below the 200 on the 5-minute chart, and yeah, kind of like a scalper's chart, right? If you're just trading the short-term price action, the 1 minute, that changes all the time, the 1 minute. But yeah, very choppy descent here. This bleed out, very choppy, dancing around that EMA, that 200. We only really departed it like a few times here and here, right? But yeah, no real commitment trend like what we like to see. We like these kind of conditions where you break it, you break that 200, and it's definitely like there's a trend, and it's very obvious and clear, you know. It gets very difficult to trade when there's just chopping sideways. You can see there's a lot of contact entering and exiting the Kumo clouds, or the Kumos, right? The clouds makes it kind of hard for Ishimoku trading. At least for me, I find it difficult to get a rhythm when it's chopping through the clouds so often. It's very noisy. But this was nice. Like, we broke through the top side of the cloud and we actually committed to some kind of rally, right? Didn't go up to the moon, but you know, it at least it stayed out and deviated from the cloud structure. Whereas all this, you can see price is like just hanging through the clouds. Disgusting. I don't like trading that. Not good. All right. So this bloke wants me to check out Crow. All right, I'll have a quick look at Crow. Just bring it up here. CRO. All right, there's Crow. It came down. All right, back to Bitcoin. Now, just kidding. Crow. Similar to Bitcoin. I mean, no surprise there. Like, Bitcoin leads the way with sentiment. Hourly chart. It's trying to hold support on these moving averages, right? Check these. All right, there's a couple of trends that I can see here that you'll want to make sure you maintain, because if you lose these trends, it's a breakout or a breakdown, right? So I'm talking about this. You can see we tried to pop out the top recently. Bit of a fake out. That's what I can see. Textbook, bullish. So this is a bullish structure. But if Bitcoin doesn't come to the party, this won't succeed. This will crash, right? You know, if Bitcoin crashes back to 20K, this ain't gonna survive, I don't think. But you know, I guess we'll just wait and see. Draw these trend lines up on your chart, and just respect them, because it is squeezing. There's no doubt about it. You can see that is a squeeze. The volatility, the highs and the lows are squeezing. So expect some kind of move before the 12th of February, because the 12th of Feb is the apex of this structure. You can see it attempted to break out here, but didn't quite get that action. And it's just feeling the effects of Bitcoin right now. Like, you know, Bitcoin's in a bit of a pullback. So, yeah, you're not going to get huge performance out of the alts just in that kind of, when Bitcoin's doing this kind of thing, like pulling back like this. What you want to see for the alts is Bitcoin doing more like this. See this sideways chop here? That's what you want for alts. Because that's stability from Bitcoin. Bitcoin's not doing anything. It's not crashing and it's not ripping. That's when people have the confidence to move into altcoins and trade those, right? If I just go split screen, and we'll bring Bitcoin in as the second screen here. Let's hide the drawings and the indicators, so we've got an even playing field. So we'll go reset. This is the daily. Let's go down to the hourly chart, and I'll show you what I mean. Okay. So yeah, look, Crow has been trending relatively similar to what Bitcoin does, right? These pullbacks were a bit more severe, but yeah, for the most part, they trend very, very similar. Let's go to the 15-minute. Got Bitcoin down the bottom, Crow up the top. Like, look at that correlation. Very similar. Let's go out to the daily. See, the daily is where you start to get a difference. Weekly. Pretty much, this is the case for most alts. Watch Bitcoin. Bitcoin, this is why I talk about Bitcoin so much, because it matters, right? It's the mark, it's the leader. You know, it's a game of follow the leader. So if Bitcoin's having a good day, your alts are going to be popping. And that's pretty much all there is to it. See, here's an example. Bitcoin chopping sideways there, while Crow rallies up here. See? There's an example. You want Bitcoin stability for these alts to have like their rallies, you know. Bit more Bitcoin like sideways through here, and you had, you know, Crow on trend for that brief moment, you know. But when Bitcoin takes off, when Bitcoin's doing that, your alts are going to follow that. When Bitcoin crashes like this, your alts are going to do a similar thing, right? They're going to dive. So yeah, there you go. Let's check Doge compared with Bitcoin. Bring up the Doge chart, because I think they're quite closely correlated too, if I'm not mistaken. Dogecoin on top, Bitcoin on bottom. 15-minute chart. You can obviously see where the FOMC meeting was, and the move came positive for both, right? It's almost like looking in a mirror. The thing that kind of sucked with Doge recently was this huge pullback while Bitcoin was only going sideways, right? Bit of a decoupling there. I don't know what that was from, but let me move this sideways to here, that sideways to there. Okay, so a bit of a pump here out of Doge. You know, that was a nice rally, actually. That was a nice nice volatility, while Bitcoin was kind of just meh. A little bit of an up there, but mostly meh, you know. But yeah, very clear. Bitcoin doing this in the last couple of hours has meant that the alts mostly have done the same thing, right? Crash down with Bitcoin. What's up, guys? There's some more people in the chat here. I'd like you to check out ADA if you can. Sure. No worries, Aaron. I'll just bring up that chart here. ADA. Okay, ADA's had a nice rally in the last couple hours too, right? During the FOMC. I don't think anything missed out with FOMC. But if we go out to like, say, like the daily for ADA, it's a very wildly different story, I feel. So it has just been bleeding the whole time with no reprieve, except for you know, come January 1st. Like this year's been great for ADA. Nice recovery, nice trend that is intact. It is still uptrending, right? I mean, you could argue the same thing is happening for Bitcoin, but yeah, there's no sign of exhaustion just yet, or sorry, pivoting rather. I shouldn't say exhaustion because it does look a little tired. Got bearish divergence here on ADA on the daily. Not yet on Bitcoin. It's not saying that it's divergent, but it looks divergent. So anyway, I'll be back with you in just a second. My phone's going off. All right. So I'm in full screen here. Just like with every other altcoin, right? If Bitcoin's gonna do a correction like this, expect a correction on the alts. I doubt, you know, it's uncommon for an alt to hold ground against a dumping Bitcoin. So keep your eyes on Bitcoin, guys. That's all I can really say. Ethereum to Bitcoin, though, that's where you can get a bit of a change. So ADA had a really nice rally, just on those final moments of January there, into the start of the new month. Beautiful pop. That was really nice. And then obviously the back of the FOMC interest, the Fed funds rate coming out. Really nice rally, like a lot of the market, right? Oh yeah, Johnny, yes. Yeah, oh well, it doesn't matter. It's all good. Yeah, obviously a little bit of bitterness still there. That's okay. No problems. But yeah, no, it's cool to hear those guys from the old school days, 2021. It's like almost 2 years ago, right? AVAX, Avalanche, has been doing well. Okay, let's have a look at Avalanche, AVAX. Let's compare that to BTC. Let's hide the drawings. Let's get these charts perfectly aligned. So they're both daily. And yeah, Avalanche has done really cool. Massive drop though, on the time. Wait, let me get this on the daily. This isn't right. Yeah, there we go. Now we're looking at the same thing. All right, daily. Similar, right? Like similar kind of direction. Not perfectly the same, but similar. Let's go down to like the hourly time frame for both. And it looks like AVAX is holding ground a little better than Bitcoin as far as this current pullback is concerned, right? You can see Bitcoin's come down like halfway down that push from yesterday. it's actually tagged probably the 50% retracement. Let's just have a quick look at that, see if it did. And yeah, it pushed through. It almost made it to the 618 fib level, right? And then if you take the comparison on AVAX to the high, it found support above the 50. So it didn't dive as deep as Bitcoin did in the pullback. So pretty cool. So yeah, but overall, like, yeah, obviously with market direction, alts are going to follow Bitcoin. Very rarely do they do, like, they counter trend, you know what I mean? I'm going to open up the Ethereum chart though. So ETH versus BTC. Let's go to their daily charts and just get them perfectly lined up like that. So yeah, a bit of a disappointing, like, last couple of weeks for Ethereum. You know, it's kind of done this, while Bitcoin has done this. You know, dragging the chain a little there on Ethereum. I think Bitcoin over the past like 3 weeks has been gaining dominance, stealing dominance off Ethereum and Tether, but Ethereum mostly. But you know, we'll see if that correlation comes back, like that sort of like rhythm. You can see, yeah, they're relatively similar with direction. ETH had a nicer rally on the end of October there, like coming up, than Bitcoin. But yeah, look, the FTX crash looks very similar, as does the recovery for both Bitcoin and Ethereum there. Let's just see on the hourly how they're comparing. Yeah, it's like looking into a mirror. Good performance out of both, off the back of the funds rate, and then both have kind of relaxed. Actually, there was a secondary push. Look at the difference here. You had a high here and then a much higher high on Ethereum, whereas on Bitcoin you had a high here but then a lower high. So there was a bit of a deviation there, and this is what I mean. Sometimes the alts can perform a little different, but otherwise, like, you can see they're very similar, right? Like they're much similar. Let's go down to the 5-minute chart and see how similar that is. It's like looking at the exact same chart, isn't it? Bitcoin and Ethereum, almost. Obviously, one's going to perform differently. Like okay, let's measure the top to the bottom here on Bitcoin. So Bitcoin fell 3.27%. Ethereum fell 5.69. So yeah, Ethereum, you're going to get bigger performance out of Ethereum because it's got a smaller market cap, right? Measuring from down here to up here on both, you get 2.7% out of Bitcoin and then 4.5 out of Ethereum. So if you're if you're trading it, if you're trading these swings, you're going to get more performance out of Ethereum every time. It's just the way it is. It's an altcoin, right? So yeah, there's your comparison, guys. Look, I'm gonna have to wrap this one up and get ready for my day. But as always, guys, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for tuning in, as always, and take care in the markets today. I'm not sure Ethereum or Bitcoin are gonna hold up too strong on their own without the stock market, you know, guiding it. So yeah, bit of a correction. We don't know. We'll see. Like, wait for that daily candle to close, and let's just see how the Friday candle shapes up, because we're still on our Thursday candle on TradingView. You can see here, if I highlight the candle, yeah, Thursday the 2nd of Feb. So just be careful. Let that candle close. Just see how the start of the Friday candle behaves, and then see if you can catch any kind of you know, trend that's forming for the day. But anyway, that's it from me, guys. Thanks again and take care. Have a good one.